Hello everyone, I'm your hostess with the mostest 8-second gaming, and in today's video we're gonna be talking about the best legend for Kings Canyon rank. Now in order to fully break this down, we have to take a quick look at TSM Raven. Now for those of you that don't know who Raven is, he is the current coach for TSM and he has also helped coach multiple other pro teams. But Raven very recently tweeted this out saying that Vantage is the best legend for KC ranked, and I do agree with him. Now Vantage is really good for a few reasons. She's insanely strong right now. She offers a ton of really effective tools that can bail you and your team out in a game. And honestly, some of her techs don't even require any skill. So someone at literally any rank can pick her up and be useful on her. Now, while I do say that any rank can be effective on her, if you really do get inspired by this video and want to pick up Vantage as a main, then you'll definitely want to check out the GameLeap website while you're at it. Over there, we have top level coaches creating highly informative guides to make you the best player you can possibly be. And we even have a course breaking down Vantage so you can become an absolute demon on her. Or if you want to take a look at other legends as well, we do have courses on them all. So if you guys really want to get better at Apex, click the link in the description, pick yourself up a membership and start to improve today. But now jumping back to Vantage, let's talk about what makes her an absolute beast right now. And of course the first thing I want to do is talk about her mobility. Now her tactical is one of the most unique forms of mobility that we have seen in the game so far. What makes it so good is it's a fast mobility tool, but it also isn't limited to horizontal or vertical. You can do both with this. And something that's really cool with this is in certain situations you can actually pull off a wall run, and I know that Titanfall 2 fans have been begging for that to be added into Apex, so this is probably the closest you're gonna get. Now Vantage kind of falls into the secondary fragger / support characters, but something that supports are limited by is their lack of mobility. Newcastle can be technically counted as somebody that does have mobility as well, but he's limited by his range. In order to actually get anywhere useful, you have to be jumping onto a teammate, and if they're not in the best spots, you don't really want to be jumping to them. But Vantage can reposition at any point in the fight and not have to blow an ultimate in order to do so. Now some people might be saying, oh well, if you're only worried about mobility, why not just play somebody like Pathfinder? Well, Path has a large hitbox with long cooldowns. 30 seconds potentially for a good grapple is absolutely ridiculous. The game punishes you for having good movement. I do like Pathfinder, but that is just so dumb, and I really do hope that Respawn takes that out and gives him back his old grapple cooldown. But on top of that, Pathfinder also does require players to have somewhat of a decent knowledge of tips and tricks for his kit. Vantage's movement, you don't. You don't have to spend that time in the firing range learning how to use Echo because it's very straightforward. But if you just want straightforward movement, why not play Horizon? Well, Horizon's movement is good, yes, but it's only vertical. Despite her name, she really has no horizontal movement at all, and that can be a problem. And while we're on the topic of Horizon, it actually does transition perfectly into the next thing that I want to talk about, and that is committing on teams. Now when playing a character like Horizon, she does require you to fully commit onto a team in order to fight them. You have to be close enough to use your black hole effectively and then wipe up the kills after. But on a character like Vantage, you don't need to fully commit in order to wipe up kills. Vantage's ultimate is ridiculously broken right now. Her sniper rifle can kill and thirst somebody potentially in 3 shots with the right armor and shot placements. I think everybody is aware at this point that committing on teams in Kings Canyon is a very bad idea. Third parties are everywhere. Teams really want to get kills in, so if they hear gunshots, they're going to be running to them. And if you're fully committing on a team, then you don't really have a whole lot of options when a third party comes. You're probably just going to get wiped, and if you don't get wiped by the third party, it's probably going to be the 4th or 5th party that takes you out. But with Vantage, this gives you a long range option to sit back, poke, get some kills, and not have to worry about diving on top of somebody for no reason. Oh, but aha, 8-second, I've got you now. Why not just use a long range weapon like a sniper or marksman rifle? Well, mainly because those take up a weapon slot. If you want to run a long range weapon, it limits you down to one other gun. If you actually get into an up close battle and a team throws themselves on top of you, then you are at a disadvantage. If someone has 2 guns that are good in a close range battle, they do have the upper hand. But if you're running Vantage, you're able to use a more flexible loadout. You can have something like a shotgun and an assault rifle, or even if you're feeling bold enough, a shotgun and an SMG. Then you're the Hannah Montana of Apex. You're getting the best of both worlds. You have the long range and you have the close range covered. And no matter what, you won't be letting a team have the upper hand on you because you're so good at every single range. You have a more flexible option for gameplay this way, and that's what makes her loadout so deadly. But okay, Vantage does have kryptonite. What about endgame situations where the circle is smaller and she doesn't get to use her sniper rifle or use any of her mobility because it just jumps you out of the ring? Well, endgames aren't actually really a thing on Kings Canyon right now. It's very rare that you'll actually see a game go to the final circle. Teams just want to fight it out. And honestly, if you let a game go to final circles, you probably didn't jump on opportunities that you needed to jump on. Now, not having final circles isn't necessarily a bad thing when you're playing Vantage. You can actually use this to your advantage. Having these little to no endgame scenarios means that you're not really useless in those spots. You don't hit the point of the game where Vantage is a bad character. If the part of the game that makes Vantage a weaker character is just completely cut out, then she's not ever a bad character. And hey, if it even gets to the endgame situations, then you still have your two up-close weapons and you can just start shooting people. You might have to rely on your teammates' abilities a little bit, but you still have two good weapons and you can just start blasting. At that point, it's more about your positioning and your gun skill, and you don't really have to rely on your abilities. And now some people might be thinking, yeah, that's all really good, but you mentioned at the start of this video that some of her kit takes absolutely zero skill, and the stuff that you mentioned does take a little bit of skill. Well, Vantage does actually have a really good ability that you literally do not even need to shoot somebody in order to get, and that is her passive. The information that you gather alone is worth a ton when you're playing this character. You get to see armors on every single person before you even fire a shot. If you're looking to do something like get an opening on a team before you push them, then you are able to pick out the weakest member. If somebody on a team has white armor and you're able to tell that, and then you get a really good 3-2-1 on them, then they're going to just get instantly downed and your team is going to have that perfect opening in order to push. And just looking at someone and seeing what armor they're wearing takes zero skill. You could honestly even do it with your monitor off. It's kind of like how Bloodhound and Seer are, where you can just throw your scan out and be useful to the team. But unlike Bloodhound and Seer, Vantage's information gathering isn't the best part of their kit, it's just kind of the cherry on top of her kit. And guys, Vantage is actually in a very unique spot that we don't see a legend fall into very often. So honestly, I would absolutely abuse her to the fullest this split in order to actually finish off your rank climbs and get to the rank that you want to hit. Vantage does fall into two different roles right now. She can be a secondary fragger and she can be a support. So even if you're solo queuing, it doesn't really matter what your teammates play because then you can morph into whatever role you need to be. Honestly, if I was solo queuing more this split, I would just be running Vantage non-stop. But with all this being said, guys, I really hope you enjoyed this video and learned something new. If you did and you want to stay up to date with the latest and greatest Apex Legends tips, tricks, and news, don't forget to smash that like and subscribe button. Thank you all for watching. Once again, I'm 8 Second Gaming, and I will see you in the next one.